one, he again like purports traditional values. I'm not going to shit on his personal relationships, but let's just say like his current family situation isn't the most traditional.
Mhm.
The other thing is he'll go on a podcast like Brian's, and he's a Tradcon, right? Or like he calls himself like a paleo Christcon, like further back than Tradcon, like paleo. And at the same time, he doesn't offer any pushback really.
Andrew Wilson's debated a lot of these red pillars.
Objectively, Andrew Wilson is good at debating.
Yeah, he is, but I guess I just don't see the value in being good.
So they did call Andrew Wilson Andrew Tate. Come on, guys. Come on. Two totally different people. Just because their names are Andrew, they're not the same person. Andrew Tate, Andrew Wilson. It's not that hard. Whoever runs this channel, get your uploader person, whoever that is, to go and update that little timestamp. Andrew Tate.
Being good at debating if you're spreading something that sucks. Because I feel like the whole point of debate is it's a means to an end. Like it's a tool to try and like push forward an ideology you actually believe in and think is good for society. I think if you put Andrew Wilson on a polygraph, I think he's 100% in it for like the blood sport.
Really?
Like, yeah, I mean, he even has in his bio like blood sports debater. So yeah, he's a good debater, but he also is in it just for the sake of debate, in my opinion.
So you don't think he actually believes what he's debating on when it comes to like dating and relationships?
No, of course not. Because one, he again like purports traditional values. I'm not going to shit on his personal relationships, but let's just say like his current family situation isn't the most traditional.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is he'll go on a podcast like Brian's, and he's a Tradcon, right? Or like he calls himself like a paleo Christcon, like further back than Tradcon, like paleo. And at the same time, he doesn't offer any pushback really. Maybe he does in like sprinkles to someone like Brian, who says like you shouldn't get married, like marriage is a trap, like women are temptresses.
Well, he does offer some pushback though. He doesn't always agree with like Brian from like the whatever podcast or these red pillars. Andrew Wilson's debated a lot of these red pillars or the like these dating gurus, the pickup artists. That's what they are, like the pickup artists and such. Like he's debated against them before. Like just because Andrew does agree with a lot of the descriptors doesn't mean he necessarily agrees with like everything. He does push back against Brian though, but he does kind of agree though that if you're secular, then yeah, he doesn't really see the reason of why you should get married if you're secular. That's Andrew Wilson's point of view. But other than that, he doesn't always agree, and he's always debating these people. And so to say that Andrew Wilson doesn't really stand for this stuff is ridiculous. And yeah, because listen, even in my videos, I get people that are like, Andrew Wilson married a woman with 5 kids, or all these kids with different baby dad, blah, blah, blah. Like they always go after Rachel and Andrew and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, but those, like, that's in their past. Are they still doing it? Is Andrew Wilson going to get a divorce from Rachel Wilson and then marry someone else that's the same way? Like, they're not still living this like lifestyle. You know what I mean? This is all like that happened in their past and such. They're not still living that way. So they're not like hypocrites in that way. Like they think as Christians that everyone can be redeemed, everyone can be forgiven by God, and they encourage people to seek God for forgiveness. But this is their cope that they always go to. I shouldn't have to listen to Andrew Wilson because, well, he's a hypocrite or this, and that. Which, by the way, someone could be a hypocrite and not be wrong. So listen, if I tell my kids, hey, don't smoke cigarettes, and meanwhile I'm a smoker, you could call me a hypocrite, but am I wrong? Does that mean, therefore, it's okay to smoke cigarettes? Just because you have shitty arguments, lady, it's not Andrew Wilson's fault. Just because you have a shitty, miserable way of life, it's not Andrew Wilson's fault.
He doesn't really offer much pushback, and still he'll co-sign on to the pushback of the OnlyFans girls. And it's like, I'm sorry, which person in this arrangement has more sway over the general public? Brian, who has 4 million subscribers and is telling his audience that women are like temptresses, marriage is a trap, or this single like college girl that they found off the street who's saying something like, yeah, like my body counts 8. Like, if you're actually a Tradcon, which party like deserves more pushback in that moment for like not aligning with your values? You know what I mean?
The OF girls. Well, you could push back against both, lady. Like, that's the thing. Like, you could push back against things that Brian says, and we could push back against things that you say. All right. And you right now, it is normal. Like, what Brian says in society as of right now is not looked too highly upon. All right. However, OF, I'm not saying OF is looked highly upon, but it is more acceptable. And that's the problem with society. We've told women it's okay to sell your bodies online. And we tell guys like Brian, hey, it's not okay to tell women that, what she just said, Brian says.
What I mean? Or he constantly like glazes people like Andrew Tate on Twitter. And he's just like, we need to not turn on Andrew Tate. We've let feminists get too far. So I'm just like, you're a Tradcon, and yet you're co-signing on to like Andrew Tate.
When did Andrew Wilson defend Andrew Tate? I don't think I've ever heard Andrew Wilson defend Andrew Tate. He has come down on people for being too, like, for using Andrew Tate as kind of this scapegoat kind of a way. Like, but I don't think I've ever recalled. I don't know if you people in the chat have ever seen Andrew Wilson endorse Andrew Tate or anything like that. But I haven't seen him do that.
Tate. But that's the thing with a lot of these traditionalists is I feel like Tradcon is honestly just red pill in sheep's clothing, because you'll see people like Candace Owens who are, again, like, they'll shit on people like Kim Kardashians, but then they'll dick ride Kanye West, or she'll, like, again, simp for Fresh and Fit. Like, she went on his show, and I don't think she offered them any pushback. And again, she just gives pushback to the sex workers. And she went on Brian's show. I don't think, maybe like there'll be one clip of someone like Michael Knowles saying to Brian, like, oh no, you should get married for sure. But they'll say it in the more of like a buddy way, not in.
So you're bringing up different people now. Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson and Michael Knowles, they're not the same. They all each have their different takes on this. Not a fan of Candace Owens, don't get me wrong, but in her slight defense, she does come after porn. Like, she has gone after Pornhub for the sex trafficking stuff. So she's not just blaming it on women. She's not just saying it's all women. Like, no, she also acknowledges that there are exploiters. Now, she is a hypocrite because, her husband is good friends with Andrew Tate, and therefore she is friends with Andrew Tate. And Andrew Tate is alleged to have been a sex trafficker. So yes, that is hypocritical. However, your claim is that she doesn't offer any pushback, or no, that she only focuses on sex workers, but that's not true. Michael Knowles is right. Michael Knowles does encourage everyone, secular or not, to get married. So again, 3 different people here, lady.
Not in the same like torture, sadistic, humiliation ritual way that they target onto like the actual girls on the panel, So yeah. It's like, even Ben Shapiro has said, like, yeah, like with Andrew Tate, like I agree with his diagnoses, but I disagree with his prescriptions. I'm like, how could you agree with his diagnoses? Like, he said, like, his diagnoses in themselves are like gender hierarchy. And he says, women are like this, they want a man who's like this. They're happier when they submit and, being at home and stuff. So either like they're not being honest about what.
I mean, Andrew Tate, that's the worst that you think Andrew Tate has said. I think Andrew Tate has said, like, some worse things. But it's fascinating though. Like, they see, hey, like, stay home and take care of the kids and the husband and the household. They really see that as like Handmaid's Tale. It's oppression. Like, that's a sin. Like, how dare you? But you could say, hey, it's a man's job to go to work and provide for the family, Like, we could always turn that around and be like, oh, you just see us as work slaves? Oh, what are we, just ATMs to you? Oh, our job is just supposed to just bring home money and screw us? That's it? Like, if we were women, we would totally be doing that. We would totally be turning it around and being like, oh, so we're just expected to go slave for a boss all day and just bring home a paycheck? That's all that we're expected to do? Oppression.
About what they actually believe, or they're just like, I don't know. What's your opinion on it?
On marriage, or just like dating in general? Marriage, I mean, I still, it's tough. You see a lot of guys talk about the negatives of it. Paul Pierce just said marriage isn't worth it for most men. You got guys like Tate saying it's not worth it for the man. So from a man point of view, I could see that argument when you have a lot of resources. Mm-hmm. but I still believe in it. I mean, I'm getting married in a few months.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
Yeah, been together for 8 years. So I don't know. I think it's case by case. I think a lot of people try to give this broad advice, but everyone's situation is different. Like, look at you. Like, you're balling, you're making a ton of money. Marriage for you're not going to be able to relate to the average girl.
What do you mean? Like, you're saying I shouldn't get married?
No, I'm saying in the sense.
She got offended by that. I thought she would be complimented by it. Like, yeah, I'm making a ton of money, marriage is not in my cards. Like, isn't that what you think she would argue? But yet he says it. And, he says it and she kind of gets offended by it.
A sense of like, you're going to have a lot of resources and money and stuff when you get married.
Right.
So the average girl is not in that situation. You know what I mean? It's a different dynamic, I think.
Yeah, I guess I just don't agree with the rhetoric that like marriage is a trap for men. Like, it just makes no sense when you look at the statistics. Like, marriage confers a literal survival benefit to men. Like, married men literally live longer than unmarried men. A divorced man is in the highest bracket for things like suicide, depression, drug abuse and stuff. But they want to pretty much instill.
Why though? Why are divorced men more likely to do those things, lady? Why are divorced men? She didn't just say unmarried men. She didn't just say single men who never been married. No. Why are divorced men more likely to fall into that? Answer that.
They want to instill so much fear into women by being like, if you don't get married, like the second half of your life is over. And I feel like it's such a projection because I'm like, that's actually not true. Like, unmarried women in their 60s actually has the lowest depressive rate out of women who are, married.
Wow.
Or otherwise married.
Yeah, pressing X to doubt on that. But even if that were true, like, notice how men need to get married. Men need to get married, but because when they're divorced and stuff, all these bad things happen. Oh, but unmarried women in their 60s, oh well, they're actually more happier. So women more happier when they're not married, men miserable when they're not married. What? So what are you saying? We should just tell men to get married? What and why? But we shouldn't tell women to get married. So we should tell men to get married, but tell women not to get married. That's so weird.
And that's because like a lot of these women, they're shoring up like most of the household work, even if they're still like the primary breadwinners. So they're doing most of the work. Like,
yeah, and men still do a lot of the housework too. It's just different housework. If something breaks in the house, whose job is it to fix it? Yours? No, it's the men's. Also, men are the ones expected to go and fight off any intruders in general. They're the ones that have to go and check out what that weird noise is down there, whether they want to or not. Men have their own duties in the household, lady, and they're still expected to fulfill those duties even when they work. But even if that weren't true, even if men did jack shit around the house, we didn't tell you guys to go get a job.
Men in marriages actually do less housework than when they were single. Because when they're single, they're like, they have to clean up after themselves. But now when they're married, they basically have like a mom that they fuck, as vulgar as that sounds.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically what it is. So I think it's just funny that
like this is so twisted. Her view of the freaking world, like it's just so completely twisted. We could just turn that around and say, "Oh, well, you have a daddy that you f. You have a daddy that you f because, well, didn't daddy take care of you when you were young? Didn't you have a parent that took care of you? Oh yeah." And now that you have someone that takes care of you, financially, oh well, you have a daddy that you f. We could just turn that right around, lady.
That red pill and like Tradcons want to act as if marriage is, I'm not saying marriage is a bad deal for women, but I just think it's funny to look at the fact that it literally increases your longevity as a man. And this is depressing. Reversely, sometimes it decreases your longevity as a woman, because not necessarily that it's like depressing or bad, but it's like because you're doing so much work. You're taking care of not just your children, but basically now you're like, your son of a husband and stuff. So I don't know. I just think it's dishonest.
Your son of a husband.
Or I don't think it's dishonest. Yeah, I think it's like very strategic for them to try and now like reverse psychology women into being like, no, see, like you'd be so lucky to get married. Like no one's going to marry you, when it's like, that's always been the best deal for men, in my opinion.
I think, yeah, there's a lot of projecting, because you see these men that have amassed a huge net worth, they get divorced and they lose half. So then you'll see these articles about Jeff Bezos losing $50 billion. And then I think that scares a lot of guys. And then
because they're going to be in that situation.
Well, just like you'll see Myron talking about it, like you'll lose half your money.
Well, yeah, of course. I don't want to see what the strange noise is, but I will, and I do. Every time there's some kind of strange noises in the house, my wife sends me to do it, and I do it because it's my responsibility and duty as a man. And if it turns out that there was a guy trying to break into the house, then yeah, I'm going to try to stop him no matter what, because it's my duty. Do I want to be the one that does it? Of course not. But I have to. It's my duty. Someone has to do it. Who's it going to be? My kids? No. It's not going to be my wife. It's going to be me. It's gonna be me.
Your money or whatever. Don't get married. Stuff like that.
It's just so funny because didn't she like help him build that company and then he wittingly had an affair and left her? Like, in what universe is he the victim?
Yeah, they had a prenup too, I think, but since he cheated, it was null.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that people like think the sob story there is like the male billionaire adulterer who like co-built this company with his like loving and faithful wife. I'm assuming she was faithful, but yeah.
All right. I don't really care about what else this woman has to say, but yeah, what about daughter of a wife? I know, right? But man, this woman, like, no wonder she's a single OF girl. And then when this guy right here, he even brings up like, oh yeah, well, you're balling, and you know, obviously marriage is not in the cards for you right now. She takes it offensive. So what are you saying? I shouldn't get married? This woman is psycho. And these crazy women, these unhinged women, they would make up most of this feminist movement. You know, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if there's any helping with women like this, but that's what, that's what I support people trying to do. That's why I support Andrew Wilson, who's trying to get through to these women and stuff like that. And I think we need more of that because, like I said, the ship needs to be corrected somehow. So we don't get more of women like this, who refers to, their son of a husband who thinks, oh yes, no, actually men should get married. Yes, they should. But women, no. It's actually harmful to women. No. This totally deranged way of thinking. We got to get this out of here. And yet she calls Brian. And listen, I don't agree with everything Brian has to say, but I think he's a little bit more sane of a person than she is. But yeah. I just wanted to show you guys that because I thought it was funny, this cope session she had after after losing debates against Andrew Wilson. So she has to cope by saying, oh yeah, no, he's not a real Christian. He's not a real one. He doesn't really believe it. He's just in it for the blood sport. Yeah, you keep telling yourself that, lady, and then we'll see how your life is in another 10 years. Maybe I should try to find a husband. I commend you, buddy. I know men who have ran. You're too funny. Gonna make them run before me, Backstreet Boy. All right. Well, anyway, what did you guys think of that video? Give this video a like if you liked it. Leave a comment down below if you got anything to say. If you like to see more content like this, I got a whole channel full of content that I think you'll really enjoy.